Welcome to Fantasia, home of the Melodious. My name is Azallea, and today, gonna be bringing you guys another post-duel commentary. Now this time, playing with my Windwitch ritual beasts. Unfortunately though, as you can see in my hand, I didn't open up with any of the Windwitches, which kind of sucks, but we did open up with Elder and Rapengu, which is probably the second best combination to open up with. Of course, second only to Elder and Kanahawk. Elder and Kanahawk can get you 2 searches, but Elder or Rapengu can only get you 1. That's without the help of Dimensional Fissure and things like that. So go for the first ulti Kanahawk, returning the ulti Apoleo and my Rapengu to the graveyard, but then tagging out with my Elder and Rapengu. This summons the Elder and Rapengu, returning only the ulti Apoleo and grabbing me my first search. Now, for your first search, you always want to get Steeds if you don't have Steeds. Steeds is so good in the form of Disruption, and your opponent will always fear it. It's non-targeting removal, it is so powerful, and it's easily chainable. So definitely go for that first. You can always go for an ambush second, and if you don't have ambush on your first turn, it's not the end of the world because you don't really need it at the moment. You're going to have the proper setup in your graveyard for it, like I do right now. I have the Spiritual Beast Apoleo and the Spiritual Beast Tamer Winda in my graveyard, but you know, bringing those back really doesn't do much right now, so the safe option is just to sit on the ulti Petalfin, because she cannot be destroyed by card effects, and she has 2800 defense, which is really nice. The only way to get around her is if you kaiju her, or if you have like the Monarch Stormforth or something weird like that most decks don't play right now. And looking at my graveyard, I do have that Winda and the Apoleo, like I mentioned earlier, that I can bring back with either the Zephyrin Pilica or the Lara that's in my hand. Both of those cards require the normal summon, and that's why it kind of sucked to open with Zephyrin Pilica, Lara, and Elder in my opening hand. But yeah. Anyway, my opponent goes and he plays Pot of Desires, and I was like, oh my god. Pot of Desires, no extra deck. If he plays Duality, and which he does, and he reveals the card of Demise and the Draconic Diagram. So now I know he's definitely playing Demise True Dracos. He's going to turbo out the Masterpiece and then hopefully win. But thankfully for me, I have that Solemn Warning in my back row, and I'm just hoping that he does not hit it with this Cosmic Cyclone. And he misses. He hits the Ritual Beast Steeds, which is actually great for me because Ritual Beast Steeds gets banished, which means that I can use it as one of the things that I return to the graveyard with ulti Kanahawk, netting me extra searches. So it's really good. And the fact that Solemn Warning is safe, which means I can negate the summon of Masterpiece. Now, he activates the Draconic Diagram and is going to destroy a card in his hand, which I found weird. He could have set something in the back row and then destroyed that and then destroyed something that I controlled. But now that I see that he was destroying Revival of the True Kings, it wouldn't really matter, because when Revival of the True Kings gets sent from the field to the graveyard, it destroys a monster on the field, and since Petalfin cannot be destroyed by card effects, there's no real point in him doing that. If he had the spell cards on the other hand, which destroyed spell and trap cards when they're destroyed, he definitely could have destroyed my Solemn Warning with that, but judging from what I see right now, he doesn't have any of the spell cards in his hand, thankfully. And so he searches to the Masterpiece, and of course he has the Monarch Stormforth, because why not, right? Why not open Pot of Desires and Duality and then the Monarch Stormforth and all that good stuff? But yeah. Monarch Stormforth, so he can tribute over my monsters, so I quickly tag out with the ulti Petalfin, bring back the Elder and the Rapengu. Definitely do not want to lose your fusions. If you do it this way, if you tag out, they can only tribute over one of your monsters, leaving one of the others on the field, which is nice. But here he sets one of his back rows so he can tribute summon with his Masterpiece. You can tribute with the face down continuous spells and traps. And thankfully for me, I just had that Solemn Warning, because if I didn't, that would have been so bad. But fortunately for him though, he does get to use Revival of the True Kings and destroy my Ritual Beast Tamer Elder, which sucks because it leaves my field wide open. But if I draw into an Ice Spell, it would have been nice. But no, the wrong Windwitch, we actually draw into a Glass Spell. So Glass Spell, I could almost summon her and get a search, but right now I'm thinking, okay, I have enough cards in my banish zone, and I have cards I want to get out of my graveyard, such as the Spiritual Beast Apoleo. I can banish things from my graveyard, set up for ulti Kanahawk plays, and just keep going off. I can probably get around 2 searches this turn. But normal summon the Zephyrin Pilica, try to get back that Apoleo from the graveyard so I can get some attack boosts, so I can go for more Banish Zone setups. But nope, run into that Forbidden Chalice, which is actually really good this format. Especially if you're going second against decks like True Kings, where they just make VFD. When they activate VFD's effect, you can easily chain that Chalice and negate VFD's effect. Unlike Effect Failure, which you can only use on your opponent's turn and on their main phase, so it's really restrictive. Forbidden Chalice doesn't have any of that. But anyway, my opponent goes ahead, uses Dragonic Diagram, destroys the Terraforming in his hand to go for another search. At this point, I don't know what he can search. I don't think he has any continuous spells and traps that he can tribute if he has another monster in his hand. So he goes and searches for the Disciples of the True Draco Phoenix. And this will actually allow him to target 3 of his True King, True Draco cards in his graveyard, shuffle it back into his deck, and then he can go for a draw, which is, of course, very nice for him because he wants more draws. And speaking of which, he banished another 10 cards from his deck with a Pot of Desires. This leaves him very, very low in the number of cards in his deck. 8 cards left, and I'm like, okay, well, I can potentially deck him out at this point. So I'm going to play conservatively, and I'm going to really manage my resources, because as it stands right now, oh my god, and he goes to the Card of Demise too, drawing 3 more cards. This is absolutely ridiculous. But because I have the Lara in my hand, I can still continue what I was going to do with the Zephyr and Pilica and just keep going off, grab 2, maybe 3 searches if I get lucky, but most likely just grabbing 2 searches, and then I can set them. I have Steeds, I can have Ambush, I can definitely grind him out. But he tributes over Revival the True Kings and he destroys my Zephyr and Pilica, and now he has a Dynamite Knight on the field. 2800 attack, pretty big, although one thing to note is that he cannot attack over Ulti Petalfin. So if I can sit on Ulti Petalfin, it'll all be fine, because Ulti Petalfin can't be destroyed by their True Draco trap cards, which is really good. So at this point, another dead draw. That's kind of a problem with this deck. You don't ever really want to see too many monsters. You want to continuously draw into your traps. But yeah, we do play a high monster count though. We play like 20 something monsters in this deck, but that's besides the point. Go for the Lara. I'm not afraid of his back row because he had to set it. They're mandatory. If he didn't set it, he would have had to discard it with Card Demise, and that would have been bad. So yeah, when I activate Lara's effect, he chains the Dynamite Knight's effect and grabs a True Draco trap card, I believe, from his deck and just activates it. And again, he's thinning out his deck really, really thin at this point, and there's only 4 cards left. So he brings out Apocalypse of the True Dracos, or True Draco Apocalypse, and that card can have the attack of all my monsters if he destroys another True Draco True King card on his side of the field. So I have to be careful about that. And because it's a quick effect, he can actually destroy something. If he just destroyed another trap card like Revival of the True Kings, if he had it up, he could easily pop one of my monsters. So I have to be very careful about what I do. But yeah, at this point, Lara brings back the Apoleo, and Apoleo gets to banish the Rapengu. Rapengu, of course, one of the better cards to have banished, just so you can refill your banished zone for more searches. Because I still haven't gotten my Petalfin out of the deck yet, the normal one. So I definitely don't want to draw into the Petalfin, so I definitely want to send that with Rapengu as soon as possible whenever I get the chance. Okay, so here I go for the Ulti Kanahawk, just hoping that he does have a strike or a warning, and with 20 cards banished from his deck, there's a really high chance that he got rid of those cards, right? And the way he set his back row just made it seem like, you know, it was obvious that he just wanted to avoid the discard with the Card Demise, and it wasn't like intentional, like, oh, I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna set this in order to disrupt his plays. That wasn't, at least that wasn't the intention that I got when I played against him. I didn't really sense that. But anyway, go for the Ulti Kanahawk, and I can put that Ritual Beast Steeds that he banished with that Cosmic Cyclone back into my graveyard, so I can go for a quick search. Because I already normal summoned this turn, there's no point in searching out a monster. But instead, of course, I can always grab the trap cards. I can always grab a Steeds to destroy his Dynamite Knight, which would be really good, or I can grab a Ritual Beast Ambush, which can help me stall by bringing out 2 additional monsters to the field. Now, the cool thing with Steeds, though, right now, at this point of the game state, is that if I destroy his Dynamite Knight, if he has Revival, which would be in the form of True King, Revival of the True Kings, the cool thing about that is Revival for him will have to summon his monster in defense mode, but that means that he won't be able to attack the turn that he summons it. which is really good for me, again, because of the fact that it puts him on the timer, it puts him on the clock. He has to be the one that tries to kill me. Right now, I'm the one that just kind of plays and dabbles with the resource management game right now, and I don't really have any top priorities in terms of like killing him, because he only has 4 cards left in his deck, and if this were an actual tournament, I have 400 more life points than he does, so I can easily, as long as I don't take additional damage, I can easily win this game in time as well. So that's something to keep in mind. So yeah, my timer's going a little low, but yeah, I'm about to end my turn after I search out the steeds and set the ambush as well. Steeds and ambush, of course, really good classic Ritual Beast setup with the Ulticanahawk. I really wish Ulticanahawk would come back to at least 2, just so you can have easier setups with Rapengu, so you can send the Ulticanahawk, or you can banish it from your extra deck to send a Kanahawk from your deck to the graveyard. But yeah, 3 cards left in my opponent's deck, and I always check his graveyard to make sure he doesn't have enough True King cards in his graveyard for his Disciples of the Draco Phoenix, because if that can shuffle 3 cards back and he gets a draw, you know, that's really good for him. Okay, at this point, of course, out of all the cards, you know, he didn't banish Regeki, the one of in his deck, but it's completely fine because I can protect my Ulticanahawk by returning him to the extra deck, and I can summon back the Apoleo and my Lara. It's alright that they touch the graveyard, and it actually kind of sucks that I have nothing banished left, but because Ambush can revive things from the graveyard, I'm not too worried. I can always bring back something like my Spiritual Beast Tamer Winda, and Winda of course can float when she's destroyed, so yeah, just more bodies on the field, more stalling power to me. But here he attacks, and I'm like, okay, well, that's I can just activate Ritual Beast Ambush and bring back some monsters. Definitely want to do that. So I'm going to bring back my Spiritual Beast Tamer Winda and the Rapengu. I really wanted to bring back the Apoleo, but of course, since Ritual Beast can only be special summoned once per turn, and I had to tag out into my Apoleo earlier with my Ulticanahawk, that wasn't going to be an option. Really weird on his part that he actually just activates the Revival of True Kings from his deck, so now he has 2 cards left. He's just really deck thinning, and I really don't think that he should have activated that second Demise, or not Demise, Desires. Desires just really hurt him. I don't think he has Masterpieces left in his deck either, so but yeah, that Revival of the True Kings that he activated actually helped him out a bit, because he's going to bring back the Dynamite Knight, which, again, he has to revive in defense position, so because it has 1500 defense and my Rapengu and my Winda have 1600 attack, I can easily just attack over it. My plan right now is to just normal summon the Glass Bell, grab a search for the Ice Bell, so if he manages to clear my field, I can have quick access to a Crystal Wing or just additional bodies on the field. But yeah, at this point, I'm probably going to check my extra decks to see what rank 4s I can make. I can easily make Chidori and stuff, but I don't want to put extra things into his deck. But yeah, I was definitely just going to attack over his Dynamite Knight and summon the Glass Bell, of course, for additional damage and to search out the Ice Bell. Sucks that I have the Snow Bell in hand, but I can actually go for some synchro plays if I needed to. I could make a Stardust Dragon if I synchroed Rapengu and my Glass Bell, which would be nice because I can negate the destruction of some things, like his back row when they try to pop my field. And of course the Winda can still float, so I'm not too worried about that part. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I didn't use the Windwitch as much. I actually didn't use them at all, but it just goes to show that Ritual Beasts are still pretty good and pretty resilient, even against the top tier decks such as True Dracos. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Windwitch Ritual Beast content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.